Agriculture, Government of Guyana. Sharon Peake, Executive Director, Caribbean Regional Development Program, Global Affairs Canada. Chris Eaton, Executive Director, WUSC Ottawa. Sam London, Director of Program, WUSC Ottawa. Doug Graham, Director, WUSC Caribbean. Munish Prasad, Deputy Director, WUSC Caribbean. Representatives from Global Affairs Canada, staff of WUSC Ottawa, staff of WUSC Caribbean, heads of department within the respective government ministries, representatives from local and regional organizations, staff of the Ministry of Agriculture, representatives from the private sector, representatives from the producer organization, the media, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. It's a pleasure to be your moderator for this important function. My name is Nicholas Prasad, and I'm the country coordinator for the World University Services of Canada project in Guyana. We appreciate the time you take to join us today for this launching, and we hope you do have an enjoyable time with us this morning. To officially launch this program, it's my pleasure to welcome Mr. Sam London, Director of Program from WUSC Ottawa, to bring his greetings and remarks from WUSC. Mr. London, over to you.
Thank you, Nicholas. Honorable Zulfikar Mustafa, Minister of Agriculture, Excellency Mark Berman, High Commissioner of Canada to Guyana, and Sharon Peake, Executive Director, Caribbean Regional Development Program for Global Affairs Canada, and all participants, partners, other development agencies, members of the press, and WUSC colleagues. Good morning. My name is Sam Landon, and I am the Director of Programs at WUSC, based here in Ottawa, Canada. WUSC is really honored to be hosting this event to launch the Sustainable Agriculture in the Caribbean project, and we thank you for joining us to mark this occasion. I'd like to note special thanks to the Government of Canada for its generous support to the implementation of the Sustainable Agriculture in the Caribbean project. So who is WUSC? WUSC is a long-standing Canadian not-for-profit organization focused on improving the quality of life for youth globally, working across three core thematic areas: economic opportunity, education, and empowerment. Within these three focus areas, we place a specific emphasis on improving the lives of marginalized youth, women, and refugees. And WUSC is currently implementing over 15 initiatives in over 20 countries around the world. WUSC is not new to the Caribbean, nor to Guyana. Most recently, we led the implementation of the Propel project, which many of you may have been involved in, focused on building agricultural markets across 5 countries in the Caribbean, including Guyana. This project, which ended in 2018, facilitated an increase of over 300 million worth of fresh produce being absorbed into high-value markets in the Caribbean. And in Guyana, under Propel, in collaboration with government, private sector, and producers, we helped increase plantain production, supported improved potato and onion crop production, and the application of climate-smart agricultural techniques. This new SAC project was designed based on the lessons learned from this Propel project, as well as from consultations from all stakeholders that we undertook in the last year and in the preparation of our proposal. Following the experience under Propel, with these stakeholders, we developed the SAC project to focus on improving economic benefit for agriculture market actors, particularly women, youth, and marginalized male producers, promoting environmental sustainability, and facilitating climate resilience and adoption of climate-smart agricultural practices. To achieve all this, we truly need collaboration with all key actors in agricultural markets. We need the support of government, private sector, producers, young women and men, as well as other development agencies and market actors, and the media. Many of you in this meeting today. So thank you again for all joining us today, and we look forward to collaborating with you as the facilitation of the SAC project begins. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Landon, for those remarks. To bring us greetings from GAC is Ms. Sharon Peake, Executive Director, the Caribbean Regional Development Program, Global Affairs Canada. Ms. Peak, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Nicholas. And thank you for having me here today. I would like to acknowledge the Honorable Minister, the High Commissioner, colleagues at WUSC, invited guests from the agricultural sector, especially the farmers, and members of the media. So I'm pleased to greet you today as the new Executive Director of Canada's Caribbean Regional Development Program, which we call the CRPD. And I'm excited to be here today to connect the CRPD with partners in Guyana. Canada is a partner with the governments of Caribbean countries through a mixture of regional and bilateral programs that support countries to strengthen economic and climate resilience, inclusive governance and gender equality, in line with Canada's feminist international assistance policy. So one priority pillar of the CRPD is growth that works for everyone. This pillar focuses Canada's efforts on promoting sustainable and inclusive economic growth. CRDP interventions are implemented through a range of executing agencies, including non-governmental organizations like WUSC, other Government of Canada departments, international financial institutions, and of course, Caribbean regional organizations. So partners such as WUSC, the Canadian NGO, have been instrumental in the delivery of Canada's development cooperation programs over the past 45 years. So let me therefore congratulate WUSC for working with regional stakeholders to develop the SAC project and for the work they've done since the project start date to mobilize this multi-country initiative. The SAC project is part of Canada's response to Guyana's call for collective action to support its development agenda, in particular through increased agricultural output. The project will be implemented in Guyana, as well as 4 additional Caribbean countries, Dominica, St. Lucia, Jamaica, and Suriname. And it's complemented by several other CRDP initiatives with active footprints in Guyana. So I'll just take a quick minute to highlight 2. The Skills to Access the Green Economy, or SAGE project, that is working with the New Amsterdam Technical Institute and Bena Hill Institute in Guyana, as well as the College of the North Atlantic, Durham College, and Mohawk College here in Canada to provide training in renewable technology. And in addition, through the Cooperation for Climate Adaptation and Resilience in the Caribbean project, the Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO, with Canada's support, has facilitated the approval of a global environment facility proposal on climate resilience and integrated land restoration. Officials from Guyana also participated in 2 webinars, one on gender and climate smart agriculture, and another on gender mainstreaming methodologies and good practices for climate change adaptation and mitigation in the Caribbean. Canada anticipates that the SAC project will produce the sustainable impact needed to enhance the well-being of Guyana's citizens, especially women, youth, and the most marginalized. So thank you all for being here, and I look forward to hearing about the project in more detail.
Thank you very much, Ms. Peak. Our next item on the agenda today is a brief presentation of the SAC project. It's my pleasure to introduce Mr. Munish Prasad, Deputy Director of WUSC Caribbean. Munish.
Yes, thank you, Nicholas. Honorable Minister, Your Excellency, High Commissioner, ladies and gentlemen, Nicholas having already established protocol, I beg your indulgence to move right into the SAC project overview. The Sustainable Agriculture in the Caribbean project actually has 3 key aims. The first is to achieve economic benefit for agricultural market actors, particularly women and youth, and marginalized male producers. It aims also to pursue environmental sustainability as far as agriculture is concerned, and as far as Guyana's commitment to carbon emission mitigation is also concerned. We also aim to pursue climate resilience and the adoption of climate smart agricultural practices. Yes. The outcome of the project is actually enhance equitable economic prosperity for women and youth in sustainable and climate resilient agricultural market systems in the Caribbean. And we realized that for this to happen, as Sharon was explaining about the CPRD, we recognize that Canada's Feminist International Assistance Policy mandates us to take an approach in which the empowerment of women and youth is upfront. So in this project, we are going to pursue the enhanced equitable economic prosperity, first by ensuring that the perspectives of women and youth are informing the action that we're going to be taking. So one of the outcomes that we hope for within the 5 years of the SAC project is increased equitable participation of women and youth in these agricultural markets. So we refer to this whole change that we're looking for as promoting the agency of women and youth. And by agency, we mean the extent to which they are participating from an empowered perspective and the extent to which the rest of the market system is acknowledging the power, the perspectives, the opinions, the priorities of these women and youth. And we recognize that this is important because if this enhanced equitable economic gain is to be achieved, women and youth has to have access to a whole host of agricultural support services, and they have to have access also to a conducive environment for them to pursue their livelihood options. So Sam alluded when he was talking about a collaborative process, a process of partnership, a process of complementarity among market actors. And so we're seeing that that process is important. Under our 1200 result, we are going to be facilitating the alignment of the roles and responsibilities and the resources of the other market actors so that together we can hear from women and youth about what they want to access, and together in an integrated market system, we can make it happen. Yeah. So the project is over 5 years, and as Sharon said, it's in 5 countries. You can see them there. It is funded to the tune of 20 million Canadian dollars by Global Affairs Canada. And women and youth in sustainable agricultural market systems are key target groups. Now, you would hear us talking a lot about women and youth because they are going to be the bulk of the beneficiaries. It does not mean that we are leaving out men. We recognize that there are some male producers who are also marginalized and they cannot be left behind. So they are also going to be included in the project. As I give a breakdown later on of the beneficiary groups, I'll talk a little bit more about that. As we said, this project is going to be implemented through what we refer to as the inclusive market systems approach. The market system really is the coming together of all of the market actors to coordinate their efforts and harmonize their efforts and to facilitate a common focus in terms of what we want to achieve. In the SAC project, what we want to achieve is, as we mentioned, equitable and sustainable economic growth for beneficiaries, but women and youth are at the forefront of those beneficiaries. This process will use a multi-stakeholder approach to engaging key market actors. So most of what we are doing will be based on conversations with the beneficiaries, with all of the key stakeholders in agriculture who have a role to play. And we are going to be trying to move forward on the basis of consensus and on the basis of all of us knowing what we're working towards. Yeah, so in doing that, we will liaise with the women and youth beneficiaries, the male beneficiaries also, private sector market actors from the Propel project. We learned can play very, very important roles. One of the key things that we learned that private sector market actors can do on the Propel is that extension need not be left up to NARI. Private sector actors have an incentive and have demonstrated that incentive to support extension services. We are going to continue to look at that. Key government ministries and departments, not just the Ministry of Agriculture, since women and youth are central to this project. We are already facilitating partnerships with Ministry of Social Services. We're looking at Ministry of Youth and Sports. We're looking at the Small Business Bureau. We have to work with research institutions, whether they're international or local, other agencies and projects, civil society organizations, Canadian partners. We'll be facilitating the placement of Canadian volunteers. We essentially will be looking at any and every stakeholder who is relevant and who have a role to play in this project. So this project, as we know, is a regional project. The reach is going to be up to 25 agricultural markets across the Caribbean. In another slide, I'll talk a little bit more about agricultural markets. We'll provide capacity building support to more than 300 local organizations. And these organizations don't necessarily need to be just farmers groups or producer groups, we recognize that in the system, there will be gaps, and some established organizations, be they private sector, be they civil society, be they governmental, may require some capacity building if we're to move forward in a strategic way. And so we're going to be considering this, and we're going to be engaging directly with those organizations to discuss the way forward. We will be working, as I said earlier, we will be working with 48,000 people in the 5 countries, including 12,000 farmers, 75% of whom will be women or youth. So I said marginalized men will not be left out. The other 25% will be drawn from poor marginalized male producers who also need to have sustainable economic growth. We will indirectly reach surrounding communities and market actors through adoption and scaling up. By adoption, we mean that if we're piloting an initiative that is to catalyze change in terms of enhancing productivity, but we can only target a certain amount of beneficiaries, we will support a process through which the outcomes of those pilots are disseminated to a wider group of beneficiaries so that they can adopt the changes that were promoted in the pilot. And through that means, we are hoping to achieve scaling up. We will be engaging again with all market actors to determine what is the best approach to facilitating that. Further, we're hoping that 340,000 will be reached through the project's communications effort. I mean, if we are to enhance the support that is being provided to women and youth, we need all of society to coalesce around us and to help to promote that. So we will need to have communication with the wider community to achieve this. Also, in terms of the adoption of successful practices and the scaling up, we will need to communicate with beyond the 48,000 people. So we will be having a communication strategy central to this project. Since the signing of the agreement between Global Affairs Canada and World University Service of Canada, we have come back to try to validate. As Sam was saying, this project was, the proposal was produced based on the experience of Propel. Everything that went into the proposal was feedback that we got from market actors, but then there was a gap of over 2 years between the time that the proposal was prepared to now that we launched. So we had to come back and see, did anything change? Are the assumptions still correct? Are our strategies still valid? So we went through this process of validation with multiple market actors. The initial inception consultations based on our gender responsive market analysis, our baseline study, and our initial engagement, we consulted across, in Guyana, 527 potential beneficiaries, including 281 females and 246 males. Across the region, we consulted in these same processes, gender market analysis and the baseline study and the initial consultation after the signing of the agreement between WUSC and Government of Canada, we consulted 2,032 people. And the feedback that we got is that the design of the project is valid, the aims of the project are still valid. In fact, we got a lot of compliments for having a focus on poor farmers and having a focus on women and youth, that 75% focus. So we were happy to learn that. Yeah. So the whole idea behind the gender responsive market analysis was to determine the best market opportunities for women and youth and marginalized men. In doing this, we took a look at the gender barriers, the financial viability of this market, especially if poor women and youth were to enter them. We looked at what are the incentives of the different market actors for supporting the markets that we are choosing and for participating in the market system. We took a serious look at the issue of environmental sustainability and climate resiliency, because these are so important with what is happening around the world now, and especially around the Caribbean. We identified 2 priority markets for the beginning of the project. Across Guyana, we're hoping to do 5 markets within the lifetime of the project, but in year 1, we identified 2 priority markets. The report for this gendered market analysis is available for sharing. And in Guyana, we've already shared it with the Ministry of Agriculture and with NARI, and it's open to be shared by anyone else. So here's a look at the markets that we have chosen. Now, traditionally, we will refer to one crop as a market system, or whether we do fisheries as a market system. But we recognize that in Guyana, if we were to organize a market system around a crop, then we will be having people meeting multiple times for one market system. So we thought that it's a better thing to have a vegetables market system. And then based on market opportunities that exist, we came up with a fruit market system. When I say we, I'm not talking here about WUSC. I'm talking about the participants in the market systems who pointed the way forward. So those are our market systems. Just to give you a quick glance, if you look on the key opportunities, you can look in the first column, import volume by metric tons and import value. And then if you come down 3 columns later, you see domestic value and domestic potential. So we looked at these numbers to determine what kind of opportunities existed there. And I was looking at a video of Mr. Jagnarine from NARI the other day, and he made a very important point in which he was saying the very first thing we should focus on is national self-sufficiency. And when I look at these figures here, it gives an idea of how much is still missing in the market in terms of local production. So these are figures around which, once the project is launched, we can begin to converse and ask, why and how can we change this? What do we need to do? Who needs to be involved? What are the timelines? What resources are required? What resources exist? How do we network the utilization of those resources for maximum effectiveness? So we can talk about those things. And if you come down to the bottom, that green, farmers' acceptance, we actually consulted with the farmers to see which of these markets and which of these produce they are interested in. And you can see some percentages there that give an idea as to why we chose this. Good. So now the next stage is onward to implementation. We have to quickly engage in the identified markets. We have to facilitate collaborative action to address the women and youth perspectives and priorities. And this one here is one that will have to get a lot of focus, because while many people are already focused on the issues of women and youth, we have to get all of us collectively to think about how it's not just going to be about what benefits in terms of actual material benefits, but we have to think about the empowerment issues, the agency issues. And so we have to focus on this as a priority. We have to begin to roll out the pilot projects and address capacity building and training needs as soon as possible. We have to plan for future market interventions in partnership with the government and private sector. Like I said, we've identified 2 markets so far, but we will have to identify 3 additional markets at least on the basis of sound analysis, like I think we have done for these first 2. We are already setting up our monitoring and evaluation systems. We are in the process of finalizing our baseline data report. The information has already been collected and is being analyzed, and the report is being produced. And then the next thing is that we'll have to set up a SAC project advisory committee meeting. That's something that we'll be following up soon. So on that note, thank you very much. And I look forward to good cooperation with all of the market actors here today.
Thank you, Manish, for a brief and informative presentation. Colleagues, I hope you gather enough information as it relates to the SAC project. And you can feel free to reach out to the office for additional information. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my honor now to introduce our next speaker, His Excellency Mark Berman, Canada's High Commissioner to Guyana. Your Excellency, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Nicholas, and it's a pleasure to be here. Honorable Minister Zulfikar Mustafa, Minister of Agriculture, my colleague, Ms. Sharon Peake, Executive Director of the Caribbean Regional Development Program at Global Affairs Canada, Mr. Sam London, Director of Program World University Service of Canada, and your whole team, invited guests from the agricultural sector, especially farmers who may be participating, and members of the media. Good morning to you all. I'm really pleased to deliver these remarks on behalf of the Government of Canada, celebrating this virtual country launch of the Sustainable Agriculture in the Caribbean project in Guyana. Canada, it's no surprise, is committed development partner with Guyana and the Caribbean. Our commitment reflects the strong historical and people-to-people ties since your independence in 1966. And as High Commissioner, I'm also pleased to be Canada's representative to CARICOM, which is headquartered in your wonderful country. The cornerstone of Canada's development engagement in Guyana and the Caribbean is to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. Sustainable Development Goal 2, which is to end hunger, achieve food security and improved nutrition and promote sustainable agriculture, recognizes several interlinkages, including supporting sustainable agriculture, empowering small farmers, promoting gender equality, ending rural poverty, ensuring healthy lifestyles, and tackling climate change. Implementing this agenda, therefore, requires a focus on priorities such as vulnerability to natural disasters, lack of access to long-term financing, and the need to diversify economies. Canada also prioritized gender equality and the empowerment of all women and girls. Through the Caribbean Regional Development Program, Canada supports all 13 CARICOM member countries, including Guyana, in 4 sectors aligned with Canada's feminist international assistance policy: environment and climate action, inclusive governance, growth that works for everyone, and gender equality and the empowerment of women and girls. In 2020, during the 31st CARICOM intersessional meeting, Canada announced $61.5 million in new initiatives to help CARICOM countries, including Guyana, bolster their climate and economic resilience, as well as to support technical assistance and educational exchanges. This announcement included a $20 million contribution for the implementation of the SAC project by WUSC in Guyana and 4 other countries, as Sharon mentioned: Suriname, Dominica, St. Lucia, and Jamaica. The launch of the SAC project is particularly timely as we consider the challenges Guyana's food production system faced in 2021 with the countrywide impact of the May to June 2021 flood, coupled with the ongoing global pandemic and the issues of climate change. As the sector charts a path to recovery and resilience, there is an urgent need to build back better. Building back better requires a transformative agenda that involves making food production more diverse, more sustainable, more efficient, and more inclusive. Inclusion of women, and especially Guyana's Indigenous communities, are essential. Across many rural farming communities of Guyana, women are well-known producers of cash crops, growing vegetables not only to feed their households, but also to supply traders and markets. There are, however, many barriers to inclusive and effective transformation. Canada anticipates that the SAC project will enhance the equitable economic prosperity of women, youth, and men involved in the production of selected crops and advancing complementary areas of the sector's transformation. Working with market actors, the project will address barriers to equitable access and participation for the marginalized farmers and others facing the challenges caused by climate change. Let me recognize the foundation built through Canada's previous engagement with Guyana's agricultural sector under the former project called Promotion of Regional Opportunities for Produce through Enterprises and Linkages, or PROPEL. Through PROPEL, approximately $300 million in agricultural goods were traded regionally. The PROPEL project also helped over 13,000 regional producers develop their businesses and earn from their agricultural production, feed their families, and support farm households. We believe that while important donor and government support alone is insufficient to address the challenges facing the region, and that the private sector must be an integral part of the solution. I'm therefore excited about the expanded use of the inclusive market system approach in the SAC project to stimulate private sector investment in resilient and climate smart agricultural development. We're particularly excited to embark on this project to support Guyana's agricultural growth and vision to promote agriculture as a wealth generator and entrepreneurial enterprise producing food and non-food commodities to meet local and expert demands. It's indeed an exciting time as Guyana holds the lead responsibility for agriculture diversification and food security in the CARICOM quasi-cabinet. We also see this project supporting your President's plan for food production and food security agenda for transforming the agricultural sector in CARICOM. As I conclude, I'd like to just mention that Canada's Prime Minister Trudeau noted that the challenges we face today know no borders. Canada is committed to working with partners around the world to build a better future for all of us, from growing economies that benefit everyone, to fighting climate change, to creating a safer, more peaceful world. That's the kind of progress we make when we work together. I would like to commend the Government of Guyana, especially the Honourable Minister of Agriculture, our local partners, and the WUSC project team for your support to the SAC project. On behalf of the team in Canada and at the High Commission of Canada in Georgetown, I would like to thank you for having me talk today, albeit virtually. We very much look forward to our continued work together. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for those kind remarks, and we look forward to supporting the Commission as we go forward. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to introduce the Honorable Zulfikar Mustafa, Minister of Agriculture, Government of Guyana. Honorable Minister, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nicholas Assad. Excellency Mark Burman, High Commissioner of Canada to Guyana, officials of Global Affairs Canada and World University Service of Canada, special invitees, it is my honor to join you today as Guyana launch of the Sustainable Agricultural Project in the Caribbean, SAC. Our people depend on agriculture for their livelihoods, and our nation depends on it for food security. The need to invest in agriculture could not be clearer. As such, Guyana is pleased to be joining our sister CARICOM countries, Jamaica, Suriname, Dominica, and St. Lucia in this project. Agriculture is a key source of employment in each of these beneficial countries. For instance, in 2020, employment in the agriculture sector accounted for approximately 16.8% in Guyana, 25% in Dominica, 17% in St. Lucia, 15.7% in Jamaica, and 7.5% in Suriname. Therefore, agriculture significantly impacts the economic and social viability of our countries. As such, to ensure the livelihood are sustained, projects such as the SAC are welcome as they address factors to maintain real incomes and keep poverty rates low. Moreover, the government of Guyana aims to help farmers grow more, be better connected to markets, thereby earning more and living better lives. We do this by expanding and diversifying food production, including via investments in large-scale cultivation, strengthening agricultural support infrastructures such as drainage and irrigation and farm-to-market roads, increasing research and development and innovation in agriculture, modernizing through increased use of technology and improved farm practices, and intensifying value added through agro-processing, support institutional market arrangement, performance, and strengthening selected value chain. And in these areas, I am very happy to report that this year alone, in some vulnerable community, and I heard the High Commissioner would have just said about those areas that are very vulnerable, including the hinterland area. We are building a number of agro-processing facilities so that we can bring value for those produce that are being produced in those vulnerable communities. We are looking also, as I said, to expand markets, opportunities in those areas where the new GMC is working side by side with the farmers there to ensure that we find market for their produce. So we are not only building these agro-processing facilities, but we are working to empower the vulnerable group, including women and youth, that we are concentrating heavily on. At the same time, the private sector has a very critical role to play as enablers in this system to increase their productivity, improve the quality of their production and their reliability as suppliers, and help build strong producer organizations to access markets. Furthermore, farming must be seen as a business that is attractive to our youth. According to the Bureau of Statistics, the latest youth unemployment figures seems to be in a large number in 2021. This is precisely why we'll continue to support the young producers who are looking to export market, taking advantage of opportunities. And I am happy to report that over the last year, we have seen a number of young people, youth, who came into this sector, who would have called it a day prior to August of last year, but they have seen the opportunities, the investment that have started to come into the agriculture sector, and they are coming in drove here. And this is a way that we are empowering this set of the population. As the High Commissioner would have rightly said, Guyana currently holds lead responsibility for agriculture, agricultural diversification, and food security in the CARICOM. And President Dr. Mohamed Irfan Ali in February this year presented to CARICOM heads of government a paper advancing the CARICOM agri-food systems agenda, prioritizing regional food and nutrition security for transforming the agriculture sector in CARICOM. As Guyana continues to assert itself as the leader of agriculture within the CARICOM region, we are implementing the CARICOM agri-food system strategy, focusing on the full commercialization of the regional agri-food system with special consideration for target groups such as micro, small and medium enterprises, agricultural cooperatives, farm families, women and youth participation, and the provision of leadership in collaboration with the private sector towards the de-risking of the agricultural food system, amongst other activities. The nationwide floods of May, June this year have caused widespread devastation to the agriculture sector. The priority at this time is to ensure rapid recovery of our farmers' livelihood through the distribution of flood and recovery relief on our ministry's work program to reduce vulnerability to climate variability, improving market mechanism that generate added value chain development, and improving critical infrastructure such as drainage and irrigation, access road, quality standard, food safety systems, and access to information and services so that farming communities can access required services. The need to increase livelihoods, opportunities, and capacity for women and youth to participate in inclusive, sustainable, and climate resilience agricultural market systems are goals that are linked with the ministry's vision of having a competitive, dynamic, and diversified social inclusive and environmentally sustainable agri-food system. On behalf of the government of Guyana, I wish to thank the Canadian government for its vote of confidence in partnering with us on this innovative, transformational, and important project. I wish to encourage all stakeholders in this project to join in working collectively to achieve a sustainable agriculture sector in Guyana. I assure you that you can count on Guyana's continued collaboration and support as you move forward to the next phase of this journey. Ladies and gentlemen, I now declare the Sustainable Agriculture in the Caribbean project officially launched in Guyana. I thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Honorable Minister, for those kind words and remarks. We definitely know the way going forward, help to grow more and in a sustainable manner. And we look forward to working with the point ministries and the different departments of the ministry in the right way, and we have the maximum effect that we're looking forward. Our next kind words would be through Mr. Doug Graham, the project director, to provide us with some more words of vote of thanks. Doug?
So good morning, everybody, and thank you very much for joining us for this launch today. I'd like to send a particular thanks to the Honourable Zulfikar Mustafa, Minister of Agriculture, for representing the Government of Guyana and for what you just did, launching the project in Guyana. So we're excited to be at a starting point. Also to thank His Excellency Mark Berman, the High Commissioner of Canada to Guyana, for speaking on behalf of the Government of Canada, as did Sharon Peake, speaking on behalf of Global Affairs and the Development Program. So thank you very much for those words. Also my colleague at headquarters, Sam Landon. I want to start by just echoing the generous support from the, acknowledging rather, the generous support from the Government of Canada, which has enabled the launch of the SAC project. It's very much appreciated. But you know, we have to also thank everybody else who's in the room, all the other partners, development agencies, member of the press, the WUSC team. And you know, this representation of a diverse group of participants in the launch is also going to be key to the approach and the market systems that we're going to be using to implement the project. I think in terms of one point to really highlight is, you know, that's key towards sustainability of this, is that we are not a market actor. We are not going to be in Guyana functioning within these agricultural markets in the long term. So we really have to make sure that it's clear that what we're doing, and it's been mentioned, we're here to facilitate, to incentivize, and to provide capacity building support that will trigger things while we're engaged, and ideally have these markets be able to sort of sustain people going forward and address all of the challenges in the sector, whether it's climate, accessing markets, and so on. So with that, I just wanted to reiterate that, you know, all these aims and the results of the project will only be achieved if we all work collectively. And this is the start. We've got our challenge in front of us, and we look forward to collaborating with everybody and to achieving as many results as we can over the next few years. So thanks again to all of you for your participation and the words that have been spoken, and for setting your time aside to join us today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, colleagues. This commends the end of the formal program. So I'd like to thank you for your participation and echo Doug sentiments. So have a good rest of the day, and we look forward to seeing you in the near future.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you very much, everyone.
All right, take care, everybody.
Thank you very much.
Okay, just a quick thing to note while we are leaving, for the members of the media, please hold on. We're going to be moving you over to the press briefing room, so please do not move. And for all of the persons who are to move over to the press room, just kindly hang on a bit while everyone else leaves. Thank you so much.
Shanoy, are we ready? Shanoy? Yeah. Okay. Colleagues, this is the end of our program. So I thank you very much for joining us. There is a breakout media room, so I'll be popping in to provide any comments on in that regard. So thank you very much for joining us, and we look forward to working with you in the future.
Thank you, Nicholas. The person from the National Communications Network, can you add to the media breakout group? Thank you.
Colleague from NCN, please click on the three dots at the bottom and admit yourself into the room. I think there might be some difficulty on your end getting in. So please scroll down and then you can maybe access the room from the bottom. Thanks. Bye, everyone. Have a good day. Thanks for all the support. Stay safe.
Thank you, everybody. And we look forward to meeting you as we go forward with implementation. All the best.
All the device coming up on my system.